Thank you for downloading this podcast from the British Theatre Guide. For more information about British Theatre Guide, please visit britishtheatreguide.info.
The winners of the biennial Bruntwood Prize for Playwriting, which this year celebrates its 20th anniversary, sharing a prize pot of more than £50,000, were announced at a ceremony at Manchester's Royal Exchange Theatre on Monday the 21st of July 2025, compared by actor Julie Hesmondhalgh, who has a long history with both the theatre and these awards. The Northwest Original New Voice Award of £10,000 went to Daisy Miles from Stockport for her play Our Ladies, but the other shortlisted play eligible for this award, Dog, Dog, Dog by Terri Jade Donovan, also from Stockport, was given a special commendation with a grant of £5,000. The international award of £10,000 went to Jesús I Valles for his play Spread. The Judges' Award, also £10,000, was presented to Silva Semerciyan for her play Przewalski's Horses, and the overall winner, taking away a cheque for £20,000, was Tolu Okanlawon for his play Shooters. I spoke to all of the winners except Jesús, who wasn't able to make it to the ceremony, immediately after the awards were presented, when they were all still in a state of shock.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you just start off by saying who you are and what your play is?
My name is Daisy Miles and I wrote the play Our Ladies.
Which has won, which prize did you win?
Which has won the Northwest Original New Voice Award. Is the official
you're
title.
going to read it off the...
Yeah, it's quite lengthy.
What's the play about?
The play follows four primary school children at a Catholic school, and they are playing Jesus. They're playing the last days before Christ's crucifixion, but it's a power struggle. It's deeply political, and it's about how violence can strike us in ways that are completely unpredictable. But it's a comedy.
Right. So where did it come from, this play?
So it's my uni dissertation.
Right.
So I sort of had to write it, I suppose, if I wanted to finish my degree. UEA. Right. So actually the first ever winner of the Bruntwood, Ben Musgraves, who's here today, he taught me at UEA. So it's like a really full circle moment. But I came to it because I was speaking with Ollie Hurst, the director, about how I so distinctly remember being like one of the last kids still wanting to play pretend. and I've got a really distinct memory of like wanting to play family or play house. Yeah. And one of the girls being like, no, that's weird. We're too old to do that now. And I just couldn't figure out why we wouldn't want to do something so fun. Yeah. And it's sort of the reason we enter this industry, isn't it? So we can keep playing house.
Work out why you do things.
Yeah. And I was also struck by how, as kids, I feel like we have such dark imaginations. I feel like we're always wanting to be so depraved. We're always wanting to be orphans, or we're always wanting to be dying for some reason. I thought that was really funny.
And we've had good representation of Stockport as well in this competition. I lived in Stockport for a short while.
Did you? Whereabouts?
I used to live in a flat over the Hat Museum.
Iconic. I love that. Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's amazing to have Stockport really repping this year. I love Stockport. It's like, it's in my blood. And to have a play about Stockport, set in Stockport, it's so Stockfordian. Yeah. I walk past the school every day that it's set at on my way to work. You know what I mean? And to have that represented and award winning at the Bruntwood is like, that's so special. Yeah,
it's only a train ride away, but it's also the Royal Exchange has got quite a link with Simon Stevens, of course, who's written a lot about Stockport. Do you know his plays?
Yeah. Big Simon Stevens fan, obviously, like King of Stockport, if you will. Yeah, he's obviously a huge name in this industry. I think he'd like this play.
Well, right, if he gets on, I'm sure he'll come and see it.
Yeah.
So it's £10,000 prize.
Oh, fuck, it is, isn't it? Jesus.
You only just realised that?
Yeah, sort of, yeah. What? I don't know, I'm realising and then forgetting and then realising where I am and then forgetting again.
Yeah. I mean, what's that going to do for you as a writer or as a person?
It's going to do a trip to Monaco is what it's going to do. No, I'm kidding. Probably just go with my lighter. Something sensible. No, it's...
Well, one writer I interviewed who won the top prize said it's going to get me a new kitchen. So there's nothing wrong with the practical stuff.
Yeah, we're going Grosvenor's after this. Double my money. To be honest, I don't know. I can't tell you because I've never had that much money.
It's not sunk in you.
No, I genuinely wasn't expecting to win anything. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. So much money. Fuck. Yeah, you're right.
And where does the play go from here? Is it finished, do you think, or has it got some way to go?
I'm working on plays currently that I like a lot more than Our Ladies, and I think are a lot truer to what I want to do and what I want to bring into the world as a writer.
Right.
And I'd like to push them more. Our Ladies, I think it being my uni days, obviously I don't have like the best relationship with it.
Yeah.
It's a very stressful experience writing it.
Yeah.
So I'd like, because it's my first play as well, I was so unconfident writing it.
Yeah.
I would just love to give a play a proper crack that I'm not being told to write by a tutor, and it just fully comes from me and me as a more confident version of myself as a writer. I would love to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
You know?
So you said these other plays represent you more as a writer, your direction. So what direction is that?
A lot more political. I think it's been brought up quite a few times during the ceremony, but I think all of this is fucking pointless if we're not talking about what's going on in the world. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? This means nothing. 10K means nothing if children are being murdered.
Yeah.
And so the ones I'm coming up with are a lot more deeply political. I think art has never been more important in times like these, and to keep writing and keep talking, keep putting voices out there is really important. My next one is sort of about activism and disability and the way we treat disabled people in this country. And it's still a comedy, believe it or not.
Well, comedy is a good way of getting across a serious point, isn't it?
Yeah, and
people listen more to comedy.
People listen more, exactly. I've got such a short attention span. I don't want to be in anything that bores me for longer than 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So I know I need the comedy, and you write for yourself, sort of. Yeah. So it has to be comedy.
You've got to find it entertaining.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you just first of all say your name and what your play is?
Sure. So my name is Terri Jade Donovan and my play is Dog, Dog, Dog.
Right. Dog, Dog, Dog.
Mm-hmm.
3 dogs.
3 dogs, baby.
And what is it? What's the play about?
So it is set in 2008 and it's about a 12-year-old girl who believes she's turning into a dog.
Right.
Yes.
That's the pitch.
That's the pitch. I was called a dog in school.
Right.
So I had a very intimate experience of being dehumanized by my peers. And so the idea of the play came about when I was like, well, what would happen if a child had turned into a dog? Like what could be the possibility of that? And it kind of exploded from there, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you going to say whether she does? I mean, is it like Kafka?
No. I mean, really, the question of the play is, how can a child reclaim their humanity in a world which is determined to strip her of it? I think, so many children have experienced this, and so many adults as well. We've seen it in the beautiful speeches that we heard today, that people are being dehumanized, and it is happening very quickly and very easily. We are denying people's humanity, and having experienced it from a very specific perspective, I think it is a time of acknowledging, actually, how does the world do that, and how can we combat that in a way and make it a theatrical experience where the audience don't quite know whether to be on Dog's side or not, because she is a complicated character. I don't believe that she's someone that you can easily get on board with, but for me, she has an awful lot of heart and an awful lot of curiosity. And I think in many ways, I've never seen a character like her on stage. And so I wanted to pursue that.
It was your job to put her on stage.
Yeah, I think so. And I think this gets me a little step forward towards doing that. Yeah.
Even the little clip that we saw today,
Yeah.
it looks like there's humour in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
It's a bit shocking in parts of it.
Completely. But I feel like the humour and shock, they go hand in hand, and it's a very, very long and very complicated tightrope which you have to walk between those two. I think when we as humans have to confront the truth about ourselves, it can be a horrific experience. It can pull you apart. It can pull away the thoughts and feelings that you had placed on yourself in either a good way or a bad way. And I think Dog's attempt to look at herself and explore if what has been said to her is true, I think that makes her incredibly brave. And I think anyone who pushes them to see themselves truthfully and honestly has committed an extraordinary act of bravery. Yeah.
And what did you feel when you were going up for this award? Because they basically invented an award just for you.
What a silly, lovely, delicious thing for them to do, really. I mean, I got to speak to Daisy beforehand, very luckily, and I was able to say to them, like, whatever happens, like, you're really God, we're really God. I think what she's doing in terms of, like, her own production company, in terms of the work that she's starting to grapple with, and as, like, a Royal Exchange Young Company alumni, to see someone who is currently going through the Young Company, I just want us. There's nothing in me except love and support, and I wanted to be able to support her, but it's a competition. It is a competition, and it was incredibly difficult, the idea of us being put on different, on opposite sides of either one of us gets it or the other. So the fact that they made the decision to actually honour both plays, what an unbelievably kind thing to do.
That Stockport was in unity.
Stockport was in unity. And that's the thing. I think she deserved to win. But also, I think Dog's voice through this commendation still gets heard. And I don't think there's anything better than that, of seeing both things happen at the same time. I think both truths are equally valid, that her play is fantastic and so is mine. And the fact that the judges made that decision to go, let's split it in this way, unbelievably kind, unbelievably generous, and I will have to thank them all a lot.
Because from what we've heard, some battles going on in the judging rooms.
It must be so complicated.
Somebody fought your corner.
Yeah, which is unbelievable because they don't know me. And I think what has been truly an honour throughout this entire experience is meeting people who have read my work and gone, I like that, and I put it forward for the Bruntwood, or I was also a finalist for the Theatre 503 Prize, so I got to meet writers from both those competitions. And that is what an extraordinary thing that all these plays have been able to make that impact on people in the real world, and their voices have carried through towards this stage of seeing all the extracts.
So what's next for Dog, or for anything else that you've got?
We got to figure it out. I'd love to put it on. I actually have no idea, not a dicky bird, what the rules are for commendations for the Bruntwood Prize. If it gets optioned for the Royal Exchange, absolutely lovely. If it doesn't, I think we're going to see this play on. In fact, I'm completely determined.
It's certainly got some attention. So people even today watching you go up and receive that prize. So.
Yeah, and hopefully just even making those connections will lead to brilliant things happening. So,
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, eh? Yeah.
So, the Judges Award. What did it mean to you when you heard your name called?
I mean, it meant, for me as I suppose many years trying to become a kind of recognized playwright, if you will, that it's meant so much to me. And I've been thinking to myself that because I was shortlisted in 2011, I had a very young baby, and it would have been absolutely overwhelming to have won it then. And I also was like someone who doesn't cope very well with like perhaps recognition. So it's been a kind of maturing process. And so it's meant a world to me to win it now after so many years of trying.
I should have started actually by asking you to say your name and what the play is.
My name is Silva Semerciyan. My play is called Przewalski's Horses.
Okay, and it's about?
It's about a young woman who journeys on foot 60 miles from Kyiv to her grandmother's house in the Chernobyl exclusion zone and discovers that her grandmother isn't going to let her in the door.
Uh-huh.
And it's about home and what that means to identity, what it means to well-being, and what happens to people when those things are taken away, either because the place has become too dangerous or because they've been forced to leave for whatever reason. And so the characters in the play, and they're each in their own way, is pushing back against displacement, but is also kind of, I suppose, reestablishing identity through that particular place in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And because it's such a dangerous place, then it's a kind of especially heightened and charged setting in which to explore some of those ideas around emotional attachment to home and identity.
And because Ukraine is very much in the news for the last, 10 years or more. When is your play set within that? It's
set prior to the more recent events.
Yeah.
And it was easier to understand that was the best place to set it in kind of the years that have kind of ensued since the beginning of writing the play. I began writing the play when my son was literally like I was expecting my son, and that was in 2015. So it has, across these years, become, I suppose, more about the themes that exist independent of what's going on politically now. But because of what's going on politically now, it had to kind of understand those things as well for this contemporary period.
All those things were already in the air anyway.
Yeah, the things that we're in the midst of, to ignore them and simply set it in 2015, which is when it's set, would be remiss. But I think that in terms of overt politics, that's something that, because I have a view of kind of a broader view of what the significance of the zone, the significance of displacement as a theme. And so I didn't want it to become just simply a political expose on a particular period in time, because we'll be perhaps, on the other side of that period. And then I want the play to still be resonant.
Yeah. So how did this story come to you? What made you want to tell this particular story?
There are numerous kind of initiating sort of forces within the beginning of this play. There's a director called Katie Henry, and she said, I've been thinking about the Chernobyl exclusion zone and the babushkas who are still resident there. And I was given your name, and would you like to start talking about a project? And I said, yes, thank you very much. But I'm I'm expecting my son in a couple months' time, so maybe I'm not the right person. And that night I slept on it, and I thought, no, it must be me, because I just pictured the characters. And I also thought the main central characters, if we go beyond existing resettlers and perhaps broaden it out to younger people, then it could really be a resonant place for, I suppose, intergenerational explorations, conflict, trauma, the legacies of everything to do with Ukraine. And for me, it's a really personal story as well, because I am the direct descendant of displaced people, and I understand at my core, especially as I've gotten older, exactly what that means in terms of little mini losses that you don't even, as a younger person, I wasn't aware of. But it's as I've gotten older that I've thought, oh yeah, I'm someone who can never go into a parish record and try to seek out my ancestors of 2 generations ago. That will never happen, because those are held under lock and key. And there are no very old photographs, and there are no, there's just a number of things like that. They might seem small, but to a mother who wants to be the kind of archivist of her family, then they become more important.
Do you think the fact that you were having your son when you were formulating the project, do you think that was significant? Because even the clip we saw, it's very much about families and family ties.
I think maybe, if I'm being honest, family wasn't at the forefront of my mind necessarily.
Right.
It is interesting hearing it described as kind of mostly about family.
Yeah.
Because I think the fact that for me, it was more of a sort of maybe like women-focused gesture, because I think we don't often see like a kind of problematized relationship between grandmother and granddaughter. And grandmothers are almost always presented in a very kind of narrow and cliched way.
Yeah.
So those were kind of more at the forefront of my mind than like trying to capture some sort of familial legacy theme. But yeah, of course, I think everything to do with interpersonal and family relationships is heightened by having children for me. And and it helps to like deeply, like, I suppose, internalize both the feelings of the young character, but also definitely for me now, the much elderly, like the character's older than my years, but still I feel like I have a glimpse towards that for what it will feel like, because I'm kind of right in the middle now. So,
and what was it like to see that come alive with actors on stage today?
Oh, it's thrilling beyond belief. Yeah. And they were they were ideally chosen to play those two parts.
Was it exactly as you imagined it?
I mean, as always, the thing that makes it wonderful is that it was better than I could imagine. So that's, because otherwise, like, if I was just left alone with my own script, I think that I would do a very expected version of it. And that's what's wonderful about bringing in, and the collaborative nature of theatre is what for me is the main buzz.
So where does it go from here, the play? Have you got other ideas for it, or is that it, do you think?
I think I just want to live in this moment for now and then hope for things.
Yeah.
Because, to me, the ultimate aim and goal is to see it realized in full. And I think that people would respond to it because it's of the moment. So I hope that if it was to start to be kind of imagined for a specific theater space, that it would hopefully like not have to overstay like the kind of period of time in which we are, because it might actually remind people of things that are going on, and because sometimes things are now other themes are coming to the fore, and it could get forgotten. Pardon?
Things drop out of the news.
That's right. And I'm not trying to be like the savior of the theme or the setting, but I think that it can inevitably have that outcome if it's resonant enough, if it's interesting enough. And so that's the hope.
And this huge wooden trophy and a check, does that give you confidence for your writing for the future?
Yes, absolutely. It really does. And as someone who is a teacher in an academic setting, it's really wonderful to be able to share this with the students that I teach playwriting to, because it's not so much a like, what have you done lately, teacher, but it's really nice to be able to kind of encourage them in really specific ways. And to one of the playwrights here, I think it was their first play or their dissertation piece, and I think that's so exciting because I think that just proves that at any stage of your career, something magical can come from your particular voice. So I look forward to sharing this with my students a lot, and that'd be great.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you just say who you are and what your play is?
My name's Tolu Okanlawon and my play is Shooters.
Okay. The big prize winner. So you looked totally stunned when it was announced. Was it a big surprise?
It was a massive, like, I'm not just saying, it's a massive, massive surprise. Like, I think from the day I was longlisted, that was already a massive surprise. And like, I was already grateful for that. Shortlisted again, same thing. And I was, honestly, I was just happy to be here, happy to meet so many wonderful writers and creators and directors and actors. I was not expecting.
I'm quite happy to be taking home a check for £20,000.
Absolutely, that doesn't hurt at all.
So what does that mean to you?
That's life changing. That's life changing. Like, I work in documentaries mainly,
right?
As a freelancer, and it's always precarious, and you can't plan for the future. And as I'm starting to like commit myself to writing and to theatre and these things, money is important. To keep doing your art and keep sustaining yourself. So to receive that is like hugely helpful in me, focusing on what I love to do. It's incredible.
And what's the play about then?
The play is about many things, but essentially it's about a real photographer called Gordon Parks, who is a pioneer in like photojournalism as well as directing like films. And he's a poet. He's done many, many things with his life, but this play focuses on particular time early in his career where he was working at Life magazine in New York, and he was assigned with entering the lives of these teenage boys, a gang of teenage boys, and he feels that he wants to tell their story to America to show that these aren't just delinquents. We can't just turn our backs on these boys. Yeah. Their story deserves to be heard. And it's complex, and he's torn between art and commerce and who gets to tell whose story. And yeah, essentially it's almost like a return for him, because he's now at a stage in his career where he's doing incredibly well. He has like horses, and he's going like into like this New York ghetto, and they're kind of looking at him sideways as well. So there's all these kind of layers of like art and masculinity and journalism, and like what's the importance of that and what's the ethics of that. So that's kind of a short version of what the play is about.
Yeah. Well, we've just seen a short clip of it.
Yeah.
And him going into those areas, it wasn't easy for him to be accepted, was it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's immediate conflict and distrust as soon as he decides that he's going to tell these boys' story, even though there's a transaction, like they're doing it for the chance of getting some money, but there's still a class difference. There's still a geographic difference. He doesn't live in these spaces anymore, even though he once used to frequent them. He's not of there anymore. He's not of that kind of area anymore. And even though this is like a period kind of drama, it's something that people still kind of like deal with today, in terms of, where your home is, where you found your grounding and standing. At some point you may have to leave, and it doesn't feel like home anymore when you return. You might even be rejected by the very people that raised you. So it's kind of all of that through this very specific lens of someone who actually lived, and just getting to like flick through his life and his books and his poetry and kind of figure out who this person is. And you could sense, like in between the lines, that there was this kind of conflict, even though he felt compelled to tell these kind of hard stories of like poverty in America, racism and like the civil rights movement. He felt compelled to tell these stories, but he didn't find it easy. He didn't find it easy at all. And I don't think at certain points he particularly liked it, but he just felt like he had to do it. Otherwise no one else would. So a lot of like the conflict kind of derives from that kind of internal conflict of him. Yeah.
How did you come across the story?
I've always heard Gordon Parks' name through various writers, directors, artists. Like, people will reference his artwork a lot. That he has a few kind of iconic pictures that he's taken from like the 20th century that I've seen, but never dived into the person behind them. And then I watched a documentary called Weapons of Choice that kind of, arcs his life and his career. A very impressive and storied career. And there's like a specific 3-minute moment in that documentary which talks about his time at Life magazine and him kind of capturing the images of these teenage boys. Yeah. And I just wanted to know more. It just sounded so kind of wild and bizarre and brave and daring and interesting. But there wasn't I hit kind of a wall very quickly in terms of how much information there was on that. I just wanted to invent. I wanted to imagine what that would be like once I hit that wall, what's behind that wall. So
that's why it was a play rather than a documentary.
Exactly. I felt that I could invent and I could imagine, because he has so much art and he has so many books, and his worldview is there to kind of look at and look through, but stitching those things together to kind of invent what that experience would have been like was like a fun challenge, which I hope I didn't do a disservice to him and his legacy,
And what was it like seeing actors performing some of it today?
It's really incredible. I don't know. I still, in terms of you always get the question of why you write, things like that. But it's always a super, super special feelings to just see your words in actors' mouths and then to like breathe life and just to take it into new dimensions and directions. And, you know, you see them making choices based on the words you've written, like,
not necessarily the ones you thought of.
Not always, but it's always that collaboration's always interested me, and I love seeing actors, especially, get excited about my, like, that's always like my kind of shallow goal is to like really get an actor excited about, even if it's one line or like a whole monologue. It's always just really special for them to like just like get excited about seeing those words that are just on the page, and just something that you typed in your bedroom at your desk, and you know it becomes a real thing when they say it and when they express it and add emotion to it, and they're sweating on stage and they're taking all the risk. Like the eyes are on them, they're not on me. So it's always incredible to see, and that's the largest audience. That's the largest audience thus far that those words have received. So to see it like at this scale is like incredible.
Well, the eyes were certainly on you at the end when you received the prize.
Yeah, they were.
What were you thinking in that moment?
There's like a million thoughts and zero thoughts. I was processing everything. It's like almost like a life is flashing before you, even though like, you know, I'm not dying, but like, it was just a total shock. And yeah, it's been an incredible experience, just from submitting all the way to being longlisted to being here today at sitting down. It's like, it's been crazy.
But it's only the start. There's further to go for this play, yeah.
I hope so.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Me too. Thank you.
That was, in reverse order, Tolu Okanlawon, Silva Semerciyan, Terri Jade Donovan and Daisy Miles, 4 of the 5 prize winners at the 2025 Bruntwood Prize for Playwriting. For more information about the awards, including past winners, tips on writing and how to enter in the future, see www.writeaplay.co.uk. For more information about the Royal Exchange Theatre, where at least some of the winning plays may possibly be produced at some point in the future, see www.royalexchange.co.uk.
You've been listening to a podcast from British Theatre Guide. For more information, please visit britishtheatreguide.info.